Bradford City continue their 2024-25 league campaign with a trip to Bromley FC, and in today's video you're going to find out how both teams have gotten so far this season, what my starting eleven would be for this game if I was Graham Alexander. If you do go on to enjoy it, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. But my team Bradford City, we currently sit 5th in the League 2 table. After 32 matches we've got 16 wins, 9 draws and 7 defeats, scoring 42 goals and also conceding at 28, which leaves us on a positive 14 goal difference and 57 points. Our last couple of matches then have been a win, a draw, a win and a loss. So pretty decent form for us at the moment. 10 points picked up out of our last possible 12. In terms of them last couple of matches then, on Saturday we had a 2-0 victory at home to MK Dons. They had a lot of possession but just didn't really do much with it. Their first shot wasn't until like the 75th minute, something like that. 2 really clinical finishes from Anthony Sarswick. Since he's returned from injury, I think he's got something like 5 goals, 4 assists, or 5 goals, 6 assists, something crazy like that. He's been absolutely flying since being out for about 3 or 4 months that we missed him. If we would have had him for the whole season, there's no doubt in my mind we'd be top of the league at this moment in time. He is that good. We also had a 2-1 defeat away to Birmingham City in the EFL Trophy semi-final. Obviously disappointing not to progress through into the final, but we put on a performance, a real performance to be proud of in this game. And statistically, yes, obviously Birmingham with a better side, as you would expect with the money that is in their squad, but we fought until the end. We barely had 11 players to choose from, and we absolutely did the club proud, really, which for Bradford City, a lot of the players over the last couple of seasons normally let us down, but in this game they absolutely smashed it, so fair play to them despite obviously not winning. We also had a 0-0 draw away to Newport County. We were absolutely robbed in this game. Anthony Sarswick scores a perfectly good goal, which was then deemed offside for some reason. Jack Shepherd was sent off for a last man denial of a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity foul, which just wasn't that. Thankfully he has now served his 1 match ban and he will be back available for this game, which is very important for us because he's been one of our best players over the last couple of months, but not a bad point when you do take them 2 factors into consideration. We also had a 1-0 win at home to Accrington Stanley. Alex Patterson scoring an absolute screamer in this game, and at this stage in the season against these type of teams that are down and around the relegation places, you just need to get the job done. We did that. It was an individual moment of brilliance from Alex Patterson and we didn't really have to get out of second gear. And we also had a 1-0 win at home to Harrogate Town. Anthony Sarswick once again finding himself on the score sheet. His header inside the first 90 seconds was enough to decide the match, really. They only had 1 shot on target in the entire game. They created some decent half chances but really lacked that clinical edge, and thankfully we just got the job done. Compared though to Bromley FC, they couldn't sit 10th in the League 2 table. After 32 matches they've got 11 wins, 12 draws and 9 defeats, scoring 43 goals and also conceding a 40, which leaves them on a positive 3 goal difference and 45 points. Their last couple of matches then have been a win, a draw and a loss, so 3 straight wins for them now. This game is obviously going to be a pretty tough one. They've had a really good season on the whole. For their first ever season, I think, in the Football League, they had a really good start to the season, then dropped off and were down around 20th sort of place, but recently they have turned that form back around and they've shot back up the table. In terms of their last couple of results then, they had a 2-0 win at home to Harrogate. If you look at the stats, Harrogate are probably the better team on the day, but when you've got a striker as good as Michael Cheek, as clinical as Michael Cheek, you are always going to win at football matches. I wanted Bradford City to maybe sign him in January. Looking at the way we're playing now though, post Andy Cook injury, I don't think he would have really suited that style of play, but he's absolutely thriving in his first ever season, I want to say, in the Football League. But that was a very good win for them. They also had a 1-0 win at home to Fleetwood. It's just a big calamity of errors from Fleetwood. It was basically straight from Fleetwood's kickoff. The ball got played back and it was just a short back pass. Michael Cheek, as I've just mentioned there, once again finding himself on the score sheet. It was another match where they probably weren't the better of the 2 teams in terms of the stats, but when you've got a striker as clinical as Michael Cheek, we're going to need to make sure we man mark him, whether it's Huntington, Shepherd, Baldwin, whoever it is who's watching Cheek. They've got to make sure they're doing it consistently for the entire match. You give him half a yard, you give him half a chance, he'll probably take it at this level. They also had a 1-0 win away to Bromley. Michael Cheek did miss a penalty in this game, but Bromley just got the job done. MK Dons, I wasn't impressed with them on Saturday, and Bromley went there and picked up all 3 points. It looked like both teams gave it a fair go, to be fair. 24 shots in the game. MK Dons lacking that clinical edge. Bromley, once again, just proving to be more clinical than the opposition, and another clean sheet for them. They also had a 3-3 draw away to Salford City. They were 3-0 up in this game and ended up bottling it. Again, it goes to show, looking at the stats, how clinical clinical Bromley are. They don't create many chances, but the chances they do create, they normally end up finding the back of the net. With Salford, though, as you can see, clearly did dominate the game on the whole. A point was probably the least that they deserved, but I'm sure that was probably a very frustrating game for Bromley, being 3-0 up in the second half. And they also had a 2-0 defeat at home to Grimsby. You look at the stats, again, fairly even. Bromley actually having a bit more of the ball in this game. They weren't clinical enough in front of goal, 12 shots but only 2 on target. But Grimsby have been a very good side recently. They've got threats at the top end of the pitch, so I don't think that's the worst result in the world. For Bromley's first season in the EFL, the fact they're 10th in the table is a big credit to Andy Woodman and his side. Before we do go any further though with today's video, don't forget to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 60 likes as always on today's video? That'd be massively appreciated. And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. What is your score prediction for this match? What would your starting 11 be as well? Now, I personally would stick with the 3-4-2-1 formation. Again, with us having already played a lot of football matches, we've got a couple more matches in quick succession coming up. A lot of Saturday, Tuesday football has been played. There's still a couple more weeks of that to come, so I would make a couple of changes for this game. But as we know, we are now down a few more bodies from the last couple of weeks. We're just picking up injury after injury, and our injury list is slowly building up. At one point, it was down to just Andy Cook. Now I think we've got 5 or 6, with a few of them carrying knocks. So in goal, I would stick with Sam Walker. Great for him to get yet another clean sheet at the weekend. He made a really good save from Danilo Orsi in that second half, and apart from that, didn't really have much to do in the game. There is still certain times I think he could maybe come off his line a bit quicker, but on the whole, I think Sam Walker, post-Christmas, very similar to Brad Halliday, has certainly turned his season around. There's still been a few times where I think he should do a bit better. You look at the Birmingham first goal the other week, I think he should catch that original free kick, but on the whole, since Christmas, touch wood, Sam Walker slowly has turned his Bradford City career back around to what we saw at the back end of last season. In terms of my back three then, at right centre back, I'd go with Aidan Baldwin. I thought on Saturday it was probably his best performance in a Bradford City shirt, and this is really harsh on Callum Johnson, who I thought had a really, really good game at the weekend, but I think we need to go with as much height and physicality in that back three as possible, and then we also need Baldwin's passing ability in there. Them 2 diagonals he played in the first half to Brad Halliday were absolutely exceptional on Saturday, and I thought defensively he had a really, really good game, so he stays in the back three for me. In the middle, I would go with Paul Huntington. He needs to man-mark Michael Cheek. We cannot just stick with Johnson and Baldwin, so I think Baldwin, if he is man-marking Michael Cheek, I think he really will struggle with him, in my personal opinion. Cheek is a big physical striker, and Huntington, that's his bread and butter, dealing with them, and I don't think Huntington played on Saturday because they didn't really have a physical striker where you need your Huntington. They have the more rotationals moving in and out, and Huntington, I think, would have been dragged all over the place, but a game like this, away from home on a Tuesday night, this absolutely does suit Paul Huntington, so he would start in the middle for me. And at left centre-back, I'd go with Jack Shepherd. Obviously, he's now back available from suspension. Romany Critchlow came off on Saturday with a little bit of a knock and probably could play again if we need him to, but with how good Shepherd has been, the quality of Jack Shepherd, why not bring him in and give Critchlow a bit of a rest? Maybe we need him on Saturday, but in my personal opinion, I would bring Jack Shepherd straight back in just because of how good he's been in a Bradford City shirt recently. In terms of my midfield 4 then, at right wing back, I would go with Brad Halliday. I know he has played a lot of football recently and hasn't had a rest for quite a while, but it doesn't really seem to be troubling him all too much. The press and the energy that he has on that right hand side, since Christmas, he has been as good, if not better, than the Brad Halliday that we saw last season. Defensively, absolutely brilliant. Going forward, his crossing at times can be a little bit hit and miss, but on the whole, I think Halliday has been very good since Christmas, so I would keep him in this side. In terms of my 2 central midfielders then, first I go with the captain, Richie Smallwood. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't play any minute between now and the end of the season. He's so important to this team, so important to the system, breaks things up, gives it to the more attacking players, and he just does his job. A very, very good and underrated player at Bradford City, in my opinion. Graham Alexander has turned him into the midfielder we always thought we had signed. And partnering him, I'd go with Brandon Kayler. Now, obviously, Alex Patterson came off after half an hour with, I think, a tight Achilles on Saturday. It's been something that he's been carrying over the last couple of games, and I think I'd give Kayler a start on off the bench. I thought first half he didn't really do too much while he was growing into the game, but second half, as more and more of the game went on, I thought he looked like a real combative midfielder, and he looks to bring a bit more strength, height, physicality into that midfield, and I feel like Bromley away on a Tuesday night, we're going to need a bit more of that rather than Patterson's energy. And I thought Kayla did a really good job as well in left wing back. And obviously I'm not saying, you know, let's start Kayla over Patterson for every game between now and the end of the season, but when you factor in he's come off with an injury, he's got a history of injury problems, let's just rest him. We can bring him on off the bench if we need him to for 15-20 minutes, something like that, but I think Kayla has done enough now to deserve a start. And at left wing back I would go with Teo Adaramola. Again, he's another player who came off on Saturday with a little bit of a knock. I think Alexander said tendinitis in his knees potentially, which doesn't sound very nice. I don't really know what that means, but it doesn't sound pleasant. But with Lewis Richards being out at this moment in time with that shoulder injury, Tyrick Wright broke his nose against Birmingham. He managed to get through the rest of that game, but he's now not going to be available for the next couple with the concussion protocol. Adaramola is our only natural left wing back, and Alexander said all three of the injured players on Saturday will be fit for this one, but we've not really got anybody else who can play there. You could maybe put a Critchlow there, you could potentially start a Kayla there, but Adaramola I think going forward looks to be a real big threat, so I would definitely start him in this game. I do have a few concerns about him defensively, but that hopefully will come with a bit more game time going forward, though he looks a real threat. In terms of my 2 and number 10s, then firstly I would go with Anthony Sarcevic. I don't really know what else to say about Sarcevic. It doesn't seem to be that he's getting all of his goals at home, so maybe we should bench him for this away game, and he has played a lot of football recently, but again it doesn't really seem to be affecting him. He's been absolutely brilliant, absolutely excellent, so Anthony Sarcevic once again should start for me. I think he's still yet to score a goal away from home, so hopefully he can get the winner again in this one, but he was brilliant on Saturday, got his brace, and just a class above at this level, isn't he? He's absolutely excellent. And on the other side I would go with Bobby Poynton. Worlds are slowly starting to fail me really with this man. What a talent he is from the academy, Bradford City fan, absolutely excellent. Goals, assists, eye for a pass, tenacity, consistency as well. I don't think he's had an injury yet in a Bradford City shirt. Absolutely excellent. One of the first names on the team sheet. Bobby Poynton for me absolutely should start once again. We've got a lot of competition for places in them attacking areas. He wasn't even in Alexander's, I wouldn't say plans, but he was like 4th or 5th choice at the start of the season. Now he's made himself almost undroppable. Absolutely brilliant. The perfect attitude that you want in a Bradford City player, and once again for me absolutely has to start this one. And as my striker I would go with Michael Mellon. With Callum Kavanagh set to miss the next couple of matches with that calf problem, Michael Mellon for me would continue to lead the line. I think against Newport we saw, you know, glimpses of what he could do. On Saturday against MK Dons I thought he proved to be a real handful. I think it's a bit unfair that he's not been credited the assist for our first goal, but Michael Mellon was absolutely brilliant, holds the ball up well, presses very well, and I feel like as more and more time goes on he's going to be so important to this Bradford City team. He links the play absolutely brilliantly as well. He just needs to start adding a few more goals to his game, but Mellon for me absolutely should lead the line. On the bench then I would go with Joe Hilton, Callum Johnson, Romney Critchlow, Alex Patterson, George Lapsley, Jamie Walker and Tommy Lee. That's a very, very strong bench despite all the injuries we've got. The players currently unavailable are Kieran Kelly with the hamstring issue, Lewis Richards with the shoulder injury, Tyrick Wright with the broken nose, Callum Kavanagh with the calf problem, and obviously Andy Cook with his ACL. Well, without his ACL, I guess, at the moment. So the players who miss out then through selection will be Colin Doyle, Zach Hady, Jay Bennett, Neil Byrne, Gabriel Wadsworth and Clark Adore. I don't know if Harry Ibbotson is now back with Bradford City or he's gone back out on loan to Guiseley, because obviously we recalled him to play on off the bench against Birmingham, so I'm not really too sure what's going on with Ibbotson. I guess I probably should have had a look at Guiseley's starting 11 on Saturday. In terms of a score prediction for this game, we've only won 3 away games so far this season. Bromley, they've won 3 on the bounce. I don't think a point here would be the end of the world, but this is our game in hand on a lot of teams around us, so a win would be massive. I think unfortunately though we won't win this game. I'm going 1-0 to Bromley. I just think they've got that consistency at home. Hopefully we can get a bit of reverse psychology. At home I think we're more than good enough to beat anyone. Away from home I think we're really going to struggle to pick up points between now and the end of the season unless something does change. So I'm going to go hopefully with a bit of reverse psychology. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. 60 likes as always would be massively appreciated, and don't forget to get your score predictions and starting 11 in down in the comment section down below. There will be a watch along over on the main channel as well, so make sure to tune in for that tomorrow at around 7:30. I'll see you all there.